When do we get our justice? My name is Patrick Rooney, oldschoolus.com. Our justice, I'm talking about the American people. When do the American people get our justice? I just saw the outcome of George Floyd's death, and Officer Chauvin is going to prison for a long, long time. They convicted him on all counts. I really don't want to talk about that so much. What he did clearly was wrong. Did it kill George Floyd? Nobody will probably ever know that for sure, but it certainly didn't help. Yes, George Floyd helped kill himself in the sense of being high on fentanyl. And the guy was out of his mind with fear or whatever it was when they were trying to arrest him. That obviously doesn't help a person breathe better. Nevertheless, what happened happened. There were some disgusting things that have happened. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, jumped in and said what he thought should happen, which was outrageous. Jury tampering, that's called. Mad Maxine Waters got in there and tried to gin up people to create more violence and just scare the jury, basically. Both of them tried to scare, and others tried to scare the jury into going a certain way. And the jury went their way, whatever it is. So we'll never really know how much this was a real verdict and how much they were just scared, because you know the jury was threatened. You know that if they were threatened with their lives probably and their family and their families. So I'm not here to pass judgment on them, or because people can be made to be swayed. A lot of people can be made to be swayed. The average person can be made to be swayed. The point I want to make is, okay, so we have this guy going to jail. They're going to, I'm assuming they're not going to riot, although I wouldn't be surprised if they did. A friend of mine mentioned they may riot anyway. A lot of these people just like to riot. They just want an excuse to riot. It's not about justice for George Floyd. It never was. They're just bad people. But nevertheless, I think about he's getting his justice, but do others get their justice? I mean, I'm thinking about Ashli Babbitt, this woman who was killed at the Capitol in the protest, Donald Trump protest, President Trump protest. She was shot by, I believe it was Capitol Police. We never found out who shot her and killed. She was killed. And we never found out. They never told us who shot her. Nothing ever was done about it. Nothing probably ever will be done about it. You could call that a murder. Quite easily, you could call that a murder, much easier than you could call the George Floyd situation a murder. She was shot going through a window. She was about, I think, something like halfway through, crawling in a window. Nowhere near anybody, nowhere near causing any problem. And she was shot and killed. And they kept, whoever did this, they kept this person's identity secret. We haven't been told to this day who did that. But let's think about just even beyond that. Let's just think about justice in general. When is the last time the American people have gotten any justice whatsoever? Think about what they did to President Trump. Think about the way they spied on him for so long and then got caught. There was no actual Russian collusion that we found out, nothing. But they got caught spying on him and then nothing happened to them. Then President Trump, but any rational person would say that President Trump also won the election. And I don't care, YouTube, do what you're going to do. You're taking my stuff down anyway. If you want to kick me off your platform, that's I suppose your right to do it. You don't really have the right to do that because you're acting as a publisher here. You're acting as editors to what people are saying, and you have certain rights that you're getting to protect the people, and you're not protecting them. So I think God willing, something will happen to you if there's real justice here. But President Trump clearly won the election by any reasonable matter, and nothing happened. I mean, the Supreme Court wouldn't stand for him. Nobody wanted to stand for him. The rhinos wouldn't stand for him. Of course, very few people on the left would stand for him because they just wanted to win at any cost. It doesn't matter what the cost is. They just want to win. And that's very sad. So the question is, and I can go on and on with the justice that the American people haven't gotten. Look at what's happened to us in COVID. We were shut down for months on end during COVID. Yeah, I know you don't want me to talk about the elections. You don't want me to talk about COVID either. There's certain things you can't even talk about. But we have to talk about these things. We were shut down and they tried to destroy us, basically, economically and in many other ways through COVID. And just put people inside, make them wear masks. Now you try to get them to take vaccines that are unproven. The whole thing is sick. And what is being done to the American people? Meanwhile, people just get away. It depends who you are, right? It depends who you are, what justice you get. It depends sometimes what race you are. It depends what your belief system is. It depends on a few different things. But nobody, I think, who's honest can say that the average person, the average American citizen, especially those who are more conservative in nature, those who voted for President Trump, those who believe in the rule of law, those who believe in old school morality, right? Christians especially, we're not getting justice. We need to demand that justice, by the way. We can't wait for someone to give us justice. We just have to assume it. We have to assume, rightfully so, that our rights come from God. They don't come from government anyway. And we just have to demand our rights. They're never going to give them to us, and they're never going to give us justice because these people themselves are unjust. The people that scream the loudest for justice are the most unjust people there are. And that's just the way it is. And that's the truth, and we all know that's true. Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest a bit here. We can never forget what they call the forgotten men and women. We can't forget. And we have to fight for our rights as long as we're alive here. We can never bow down to the injustice that we see. All right, that's enough from me. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Love to hear your comments. And go to Old School. Go to oldschoolus.com for more in natural health, success, and freedom. Those are the things I'm fighting for. I hope that you're fighting for those things too. And God bless you. And I hope to see you again on the next video.